So let's start feeling our feet. Just maybe move gently back and forward without necessarily lifting the heels on purpose or the toes on purpose, but just so swinging back and forward, feeling where the feet are touching. And then slowly coming to your center, very naturally. So not maybe what you think is your center, but where your body is going to bring you. And then just gently go to the right. So bring more weight onto the right leg. Your left foot is still on the floor, but you don't press it down. And then come back to center. And then go to the left. So same thing, you feel a lot of weight onto your left foot. Your right foot is still touching the floor. So do that 2 more times each side. And I'm still on a squeaky floor, so I'm not sure that comes true, but, and then coming back to center. Let's lift our toes and feel how the arches are activating. So just lifting, and at the same time, we're gonna stretch out our fingers. So really stretch out as much as you can. Maybe you feel a stretch in the palm. And then start to lift your kneecaps as well. And as you lift your kneecaps, continue to breathe very naturally. Take a breath in and a breath out. And then slowly release everything and feel your feet again. Relax your fingers. I'm just going to bring my computer a little bit closer because it keeps on doing these weird things. So, okay. So keeping the feet comfortable onto the floor, bring the arms, shake the shoulders a few times and just let the arms dangle. So they're alongside your body, just shake it up a little bit. And then lift your shoulders and roll them back as you exhale. So not rounding forward, we're just gonna do that lift up and roll back, pressing the shoulder blades together. So let's do this 3 more times. Inhaling up, exhaling, rolling back. And then release. Bend your elbows, bring your arms to the side and start to cross, open and cross. So right hand on top, left hand on top. And then the next time, come back to center, turn your palms up and then cross. So again, up and down. And then cross the palms down again. And palms up again. Ooh, shouldn't watch myself. And down. So a few times just to loosen up the shoulders here. And then coming back to center. So if you have, we're gonna take a block first. So taking the block, place the block between your thighs. So you wanna go quite high and using not the smallest side, but the medium side. So you can go quite high. And then your feet should be, again, resting onto the floor. So it's not that you're like, oh, feeling unstable into your feet. So your feet are really resting onto the floor. And then bend your knees a little bit and start to press with your thighs into your knees. Observe what happens with the arch of your foot. So maybe you are falling inwards, or maybe by pressing, you're coming out. Just observing, like where there's no right, there's no wrong. It's just an observation. Keep your upper body straight, bend your knees a little bit, so don't go too deep. Go a little bit deeper now with your knees. Continue pressing with the inside of your legs into the block. And then press into your feet, come up. Sorry, take the block away. So we're gonna take the chair or whatever you have and just very a very gentle movements. I was exploring a few things and I thought this was really nice. So again, we're standing in front of the chair and lift one foot up. So I put my right foot onto the chair or the bench. You don't have to be that high, so it can be a little bit lower as well. So worst comes to worst, you stack your 2 blocks on top. So your supporting leg is really supporting. And then what we want to focus on is keeping the nose in line with the breastbone. And then to start, we're gonna keep our arms alongside. Take a breath in, so make sure you feel like you're in Tadasana. And then exhale, turn towards the right, so towards your bent knee. So it's a twist, but we don't wanna bring our hand immediately onto our thigh. We don't wanna pull with our hands. So it's really twisting in the spine, keeping the nose in line with the breastbone, which I find really hard. And then you can place your opposite hand onto your thigh. And then inhale, press into your standing leg, come a little bit higher, and then see if you can go a little bit further into your twist, but don't pull too much onto that leg. The leg is just, you know, very softly resting onto the chair. So if you would start to pull onto your thigh, you're probably gonna bring your knee inwards. And then bring that right arm or the arm in the back straight to the back and start to open and close your hand. And then release the arm, come back to center and place the foot on the floor. So just maybe observe, again, the balance between left and right. It might be different now. And then place the other foot onto the floor. So left foot for me. I find my Tadasana on one leg. So it's not that I'm not at all supporting onto the chair. I am, but I'm not leaning into it. So find your Tadasana, which is to get length, get space, keep the arms alongside, nose in line with your chest bone. And as you exhale, turn to the left or to the other side towards your knee. Keeping the nose in line with your chest bone. And then you can bring your hand onto your thigh and gently guide your body maybe a little bit further into the twist. And then bring the arm out and start to open and close the fingers. So really stretching out the palms. And then bring the arm down, come back and release. And you can put that to the side. So we're gonna take a strap and buckle it up. So you wanna buckle it up about the width of your hips or a little bit less. And then we're gonna step into it. So you can always adjust. You don't want your knees to knock, so you can always adjust a little bit. And bring it about 1/3 from your hip. So your feet should be in line with your hips. And as we were pressing before within the block, now we're gonna press out into the strap. So, and again, observe your feet and feel what happens from your hip down to your feet. So if you imagine you have the block, we're pressing in and most probably your knees are gonna slightly go in and then your hips turning in, but now we're pressing out. So opening the hips here, like the hip bones open up. Your knees should stay in line with your toes and there's a result into your feet. And again, you can bend your knees a little bit and see what difference that makes. Your arms are relaxed alongside your body. And then press up. Take the strap off, but keep the strap with the loop. And you want to bring it as wide or a little bit less wide than your shoulders. So the loop is like this. And then bring the loop about around your elbow. So if you have very tight shoulders, you might want to make the loop a little bit wider. So from here, let's roll the shoulders back and push the arms down and lift up and push down. So you really want to feel that movement into your shoulders and the shoulder blades as you do this. So keep the arms pressing into the strap. And then now start to lift up the arms. So we're not going to do this and leaning forward. We want to keep our spine long. So we want to just lift up a little bit and then down. So working again with the shoulder blades. So the shoulder blades are already very close to each other, but the movement is really coming more from between your shoulder blades. You should feel the muscles working there. So it's not about this, very important. It's just tiny movements. And then coming back and release. And put the strap aside. And then keeping the left hand alongside your body, we're gonna bend the right elbow. So again, I'll come to the side and then lift your elbow up and then come down. Lift up. So what we wanna do is bring the elbow as high as you can. So if you have a shoulder injury, automatically you're probably gonna go here. See if you can just try to lift straight so that your arms remain parallel with your body. So maybe you're not gonna go that high, but eventually, so we're working on that backwards movement of our shoulder. And then if you want, bringing both hands with bent elbows, and you can do the opposite movement. So we're gonna change, so left shoulder come up, right shoulder goes back. If this is too confusing, just keep the arms at the arm at the bottom, just relax. So the focus is on the elbow that goes up. So watch out that you don't pop your ribs forward and then change. And change. And release. So this should feel different today, right? Separate your feet and then just gently start to move. So your toes can go out so that when you bend your knee, your toes goes towards your knee. You can lift your toes, you can lift your heel. So maybe alternating, lifting toes, lifting knees, lifting heels, sorry. And then coming back to center, both feet on the floor, and continue that swinging movement as you go down. So maybe separate the feet a little bit more if you need to. Go a little bit more down, and then coming to your center. Let's inhale, press into the feet, bring the arms up. And really stretch yourself out. So press the fingers up, press into your feet. Feel the length coming from the hips all the way up. And then as you exhale, cactus, arms, bend the knees. Goddess pose. Inhale, come back up. Exhale. 2 more times. Inhale. Exhale. And inhale up. And exhale, bring the hands onto the hips. Let's press into our right toes, turn the heel, and then bring the left foot forward. So we are in sort of a lunge, and then start to bend your left knee. So walk your left foot maybe a little bit more forward so that you can keep that back leg straight. Press the heel back. So we really want to see how far we can press the heel back. You can wiggle your toes a little bit more back. And then gentle going deeper. So opening the front of our right leg, taking a breath in, maybe go a little bit deeper. And then coming back up. Bring the toes out again. So bending, pressing, bending. Lifting the right heel, twisting. So find your stability first before you start to move your right toes to the front. And then again, first of all, press that left heel back so you can find that length into your left leg. Inhale, and then exhale, come down. Press into your feet to come up. Feel how your hips and bum is working to help you come up. And then stay here for 3 breaths. And then come back up and place both feet now, toes pointing forward. Separate your feet a little bit wider. Bring the fingers into the hip crease. So your thumb is in the back and your fingers are at the front. So you should feel this soft spot in your hip crease. It's just below the hip bone. Roll the shoulders back. Press gently onto the top of your thigh so that you can find length into your spine. And then start to go forward with a straight back. So keeping the knees straight, the legs straight, looking where your gaze is going to bring you. So you want to keep the neck in line with the spine. So it's not about looking forward, just seeing where you're going to end up. So inhale, exhale. So we want to feel some stretch in our back legs. Make sure you don't fall on the inside of your feet. So if you have flat feet, a suggestion here would be to put one short sock under each arch, just to keep it lifted, but have a gentle reminder that it has to lift without pressing and supporting it totally. And then exhale, drop your head, drop your spine, your hands. If you can touch the floor, otherwise take a block and see if you can go a little bit deeper. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. So we're really letting go gradually with the breath. And then if you have a block, you're gonna bring the block a little bit more to the front or walk your hands a little bit more to the front and then bring your hands flat. So maybe for this, you don't need the block anymore, but by all means. So for the moment, we're leaning a little bit forward. I wanna keep my feet onto the floor. So I'm not coming onto my toes. I continue to press my heels down. My shoulders are above my hands. And then take a breath in and start to gently press into your hands and bring the hips back. So we see if we can lengthen that spine out, keeping the legs straight. Maybe you need to adjust your hands where they are. So very wide-legged downward dog. Take a breath in. And as you exhale, maybe push your hips a little bit more back. Roll the shoulders out, creating space in the upper back. And then slowly walk your hands back and then bend your right knee. Lift your left heel, left toes, lift your right heel. And stretch out the left leg. So the toes are lifted. You are on your right toes, the left toes are lifted. And we're standing. If your balance is okay, you can bring your hands onto your thighs, maybe in prayer pose. Whatever works for you today, just explore where you're at this morning. And then bring the hands down and lift up. Walking to the other side. So lifting the left heel, lifting the right toes, opening the inner thigh, finding your balance. If you still have your chair around, you might want to put your hands on that. And then hands in prayer pose, if you're there today. And then release. Let's press into our hands. Walk the hands to the center. You can keep your knees bent. We're gonna bring the feet closer, but they remain wider than your hips and the toes pointing out. And then gently come and sit into our squat. So again, move at your own place. Go where there is no pain. If you're afraid to hurt yourself, the muscles are going to tighten up. So I'm not diminishing any fear. because we know our body. But sometimes we come so much into the habit of, no, I cannot do this, that we just stop. We just stop at a certain point and we don't explore anymore. And it's so much fun to explore. So into your squat, whether your heels are down or if you're still with the heels lifted, eventually the heels will go down. Eventually the toes will be forward. Placing the hands in prayer pose and pressing to your knees and open up. So keep on breathing here. See if you can lengthen your spine a little bit. And then place the hands down. Lift your heels now. Place the heels behind your toes and start to lift your hips up. Walk your feet a little bit closer and exhale, fold forward. So by all means, you can bend your knees, grab the opposite elbows, just let the upper body be heavy. Inhale, exhale, belly can rest onto your thighs. Head is loose, so maybe shake it out a few times, taking advantage of the weight of our head to open up the cervical spine. Maybe swinging from side to side. Just explore again. And then placing the hands onto the hips. Start to bend your knees and make your spine long, and then press into your feet and come all the way up. And shake it out. So stand again into your Tadasana. And again, bring your attention to your feet. So close your eyes for a moment. Maybe feel the four corners of your foot. Maybe with your eyes closed, you're gonna sway a little bit. That's okay. And then open the eyes. We're gonna separate the feet a little bit, bring the hands onto the hips, bend your knees, lift the left leg. So lift the left leg and open up the left hip, left knee, bring the foot over the right leg. And if you're stable here, then gently start to bend your right knee. So if this is all still going well, you can continue. If your balance is totally off today, you can sit on the chair and do the same thing. Or you can support yourself against the wall. So fingers are in my hip crease again, and I'm gonna start to fold forward. Maybe bend my knee a little bit more. So just explore, like where, don't move everything at the same time. Then there is confusion with the center of gravity. So it takes a little while to find it again. Continue, continue. If you want, you can release your hands, maybe all the way down to the floor, hooking your left toes behind your right biceps. My left knee is behind my left biceps, and then I'm gonna lean forward. Always look forward. And lifting my back heel, and then gently coming back. And all the way up. And release. Taking a breath in and a breath out. Let's go to the other side. Separate the feet a little bit wider than the hips. Hands onto the hips to start. Bend your knee and lift your right leg, opening up. So again, one side can be very different than the other. Bring the fingers into the hip crease. Probably now you will feel a lot of tense muscles and tendons because we are lifted, we are holding into the hips, so the hips are doing their job. So it's not soft as if when you're standing. And then slowly start to go forward, maybe bend your knee again. And if your fingers are still in the hip crease, maybe you feel a little bit of softness now. And then again, if you're up to it, bending the knee more, bring the fingertips down, hooking your toes, your knee, and then slowly moving towards a balance eventually. And then walking back up and release. So taking a breath in and a breath out. So I know we don't move very fast, but I'm gonna slow down even more because of the heat. So and also avoiding a little bit more going forward. With the heat, there's already a lot of things happening. So as we go forward, there's even more heat created. So we're gonna, at least for me, I need to slow down because it's already 30 degrees here where I'm teaching. And I'm not a hot yoga fan. So let's come to the front of the mat. Back into our mountain pose. Bring the hands onto the hips, and we're gonna take a big step back with our right foot. So feet are set for warrior one, so the hips are parallel with the short side of the mat. The right foot is slightly out, the hips parallel. So if your hips are kind of stuck and you don't really know how to move them, lift your right heel up. Change your hips so that they're more or less parallel with the front of the mat, and then press your right heel back down. So we're gonna really press with the back heel, the outside of our foot into the floor. Again, if you have flat feet, take that sock, place it under your arch. And then start to explore the bend into your front knee. So continuing to press the back foot down into the floor, and then come back up. And then come a little bit deeper and come back up. So possibly you have to walk your left foot a little bit more to the front. And last time, come back up. So long body, long upper body, strong legs. Your legs are your anchors. So you wanna keep them where they are. Inhale, reach the arms up. And then as you exhale, rotate towards the right. So watch out that you don't open your hip. So it's really a rotation in the spine. If you're gonna open your hip here, you're gonna feel it in your knees. So you wanna keep that back leg strong and open up. Turn the palms up, inhale, reach up and come back to the center. And exhale, go to the other side. Let's do this one more time and really pay attention where you're rotating. So maybe you're not even that far, and that's fine. Keep your arms in one line. So even if you're here, that's fine. We don't want to rotate in the hip. Inhaling up, exhaling back, and inhaling into our warrior one. So warrior one, you can bring your hands together, index up, bring the armpits towards the front. Press maybe your arms back, maybe you go into a slight back bend. Continue to press the back side of your back foot into the floor. And then bend your front knee a little bit more. By all means, your arms can be here or in cactus, whatever works for you. And then release your arms, bring your hands onto your hips. And then let's come to the front and come to the back. So this time, right foot points to the short side, left foot slightly out. So first of all, we want to find our position with our feet, our hips to the front, press into the back foot, and then start to bend the front knee. And then come back up. So just play a little bit without just being like this. So really feel your whole body participating into this movement. And then one more time up, and then come down. And then lift your arms up. So find really your anchors, and then open up. So watch out for your hip, and then coming up. And then the other side. And then up. And one more. And then up and come into your warrior one with a slight back bend if you want. And then release and come back to center. We're gonna do one more standing pose, I believe, because I always say that and then I think about something else. So your feet are quite wide, like for warrior two, pointing the toes towards the left. And your right toes remain pointing towards the long side. So your hips this time are parallel with the side of your mat. So with tight hips, this can feel uncomfortable into your knees. So be aware. Don't force your hips into place. Because if your feet are static and your hips are, you just force your hips, it's the knee who are gonna take everything, the whole twist, and the knees are not meant to twist. So from here, left hand into your left hip crease. So really, again, find that place where if you push on it, your hips move back. Keep your right hand on top of your right hip. Take a deep breath in, lengthen your spine, and then as you exhale, start to push with your left hand into the hip crease so that your right hip is lifting, your left hip almost disappears. And we are in between two walls. So the goal is not to go as deep as you can by bending forward. We want to keep the upper body long, keep the back leg strong. So it's not that all the weight is onto our front leg. We're pressing down with our back foot as well. So open up, maybe go a little bit deeper. And then bring your left hand onto your left leg, wherever that's comfortable, so that you can keep your spine long. So don't lean into it. We want to work with the upper body as well, and then reach your right arm up. So we want the right hip will press back, the left bum will come forward. There's a lot of things happening in triangle pose. And then if you want, you can release your hand from your left leg and look up for your full triangle. Constantly readjusting here. And then inhaling, coming back up. Hands onto the hips. Turn your toes in, the right out. So again, adjust the hips to the point that you can. So again, watch out for those knees. Take a breath in, bring the right hand into the right hip crease, left hand on top of the left hip. Take a breath in and exhale. Start to press the right hip back, the left hip comes up. Inhale, exhale. So keeping the left hip pressing back, the right bum comes forward, and then you can lengthen your right arm without collapsing in your upper body and reach your left arm up, right arm down. Maybe look up if your neck allows it. And then slowly coming back up and coming back to center. Bring the toes towards the short side of the mat. Lift your right ankle and step forward. So we're gonna slowly go down to the floor. Let's inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, sit into our chair. So don't lean forward, but push your hips back. Lengthen your arms up or forward or cactus, whatever is comfortable. Try not to compensate into your lower back. So maybe play a little bit with the tilting in the hips and see where you find the most comfort. And then exhale, lower the hands. And let's bring the right leg back and the left leg back and come onto our knees. So tucking the toes, and you really want to bring the little toe also towards the front. Stay onto your knees, keep your hands onto your hips, and we're gonna bend into the hips and go a little bit more back. So we're not gonna sit onto our heels, we're just gonna do this a few times. So again, that tilting gently into the hips, pressing the hips back. And then this time, if you're comfortable, go and sit onto your heels just for 3 or 4 breaths. So just to stretch your toes out. Inhale and exhale. And then slowly bring the hands to the front and tap your toes. Coming onto hands and knees, so tabletop, wrists underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips. And then just same thing, like sway a little bit forward and a little bit back. So if your wrists are sensible, or sensitive, I should say, or I actually don't know what word to use, just be mindful. So here it's one of those spots where you're afraid to hurt yourself, so you're gonna keep a safety margin. So if you remain very conscious with the movement, maybe you can go a little bit further. Maybe not. Maybe the alarm is ringing very quickly. So don't go to pain, but just explore the movement a little bit more. And then coming back to neutral. We're gonna look to the right, and then press our hips to the right. So we're pressing the center of our spine to the left, making a C. And then coming back to center, and then look to the left and making a C the other way. So pressing your left hips towards the left. So moving one side, C, the other side. One more time each side. And then coming back to center, going for 4 rounds of cat and cow. So move at your pace, the rhythm of your breath. Take a breath in, and as you exhale, tailbone goes down, belly button up. Start to round your spine, vertebrae by vertebrae. Chin comes to the chest, press into your hands. And then inhale, make it really like vertebrae by vertebrae. Tailbone up, belly button down. Chest opens, the neck lengthens and comes forward, and you're looking forward. And 3 more times at your own rhythm. And then coming back to center. Bring the hands to the front. We are going to do one downward dog, despite that it's an inversion. But because it's such a good pose to stretch and strengthen so many parts of our body. So bring your hands as wide or even a bit more wider than your shoulders. Spread out your fingers. Tuck your toes. Start to press into your thumb and your index and roll the shoulders out. And then start to lift your hips up. So press into your hands. Bring your head between your arms. Lift your hips up. Find that length into your spine without bringing the shoulders to your ears. So you want to have your shoulders away from your ears. Your upper back is open. Inhale, exhale, and then start to walk your dog or stay on one side a little bit longer. Whatever your body needs this morning. Keeping the spine long as you're doing this. Maybe you want to bring the right knee towards the left and the left knee towards the right. So swinging a bit into the hips. And then coming back to the center, bringing, again, the hips up to the sky as you inhale. And this time, straight legs if your hamstrings allow it. Bring the heels down. So if your lower back is rounding, then keep your knees bent. Taking a few breaths here. And by all means, if you feel tired, come into child's pose. If you're still in downward dog, with every breath, feel what happens in your body. It's about how the pose feels, not how it looks. So that's why it's so important to explore your own body. And then gently bring the knees down. This time, walk your hands a little bit more back and bring the right foot forward. So walk your right foot a little bit forward. We're not going to go to a very deep stretch. So it's a little bit more than 90 degrees the front knee. And then place your hands onto your thigh. And again, let's bend a few times. So very gentle. Feeling how as you push with your front foot to come up, your whole leg, your bum becomes active. And then place your hands down and change sides. So left foot forward, hands onto the hips or the thigh, and then gently. Very gently. So we don't want to go to ultimate stretches every time we do this. And then coming back to center, placing both hands down, and let's come onto our belly. Grab your strap if it's far away. So just to have it handy for a little bit later. And come onto your belly, hands at the height of your breast, legs are long, roll the shoulders back, and inhale, come up into your cobra. So roll the shoulders back. You can press your hands gently into the floor and pull your mat back to feel that opening in your chest, reaching your chest forward. And then exhale, come down. So no need to come too high. Now place your hands under your shoulders and no weight into the hands. We're gonna come up. So this time purely with your lower back muscles. Exhale. If you want, you can bring your hands on your bum just to have them out of the way. Let's do this 3 more breaths in and out, hovering, so don't collapse every time. So we're still holding into the lower back, pressing the tops of the feet into the floor. And then exhale, release. Let's roll over onto our back. And take the strap. If you still have the loop, that's okay. Don't worry about it. Just place it around your foot. Lengthen your left leg. Straighten your right leg. And for a moment, just make sure that you're equally lying down on the floor on your sacrum. So your lower back is neutral. If you place your right hand or the free hand where your lower back is, you might be able to pass it through depending on what's neutral for you. So if you lift up your bum a little bit too much, then your lower back starts to press down into the floor. So we want to keep that neutral lower back throughout what we're doing here. So left leg is active, press your right heel up, lengthen your leg. So if your leg is lower, that's okay. So the goal is not to pull onto the strap. It's just the strap is there to guide us, to help us. Inhale, exhale. So relax your shoulders, relax your arms. Press your heel up, bring your toes towards your nose. But your feet should feel as if you were standing on the ceiling. So the 4 corners of the feet are parallel to the ceiling. And then take the strap into your left hand and gently bring the right leg over to the right, over your center. So don't lift the right bum. We just want to bring it over and stretch the IT band, stretch the outside of our right leg. Very strange sensation. Continue pressing the heel, and even here, your toes and your knees should be in line. So if you're pulling too much and your toes are falling in, you might not feel it in your knee, but it definitely stretches tendons that don't usually need to be stretched. So we don't want that. So stay here for 3 more breaths, observing the sensation. And then slowly let the right leg come out to the left. Keeping the right shoulder onto the floor. So again, a twist. Breathing, releasing. Straight leg, so don't slack into the right leg. The left leg can be a little bit more relaxed now. So the left toes are pointing out, if they follow the movement. And then slowly, with the power of the strap, come all the way up. Keep the leg up, bring the left leg up. And then put the left foot into the strap, keep the right leg up. And very slowly bring the right leg all the way down. So same thing here. Take the strap into one hand. Maybe feel your lower back. And then press the heel up, push the hip down, keeping the lower back neutral. Breathing, creating some movement into your body through the breath. And then very gently start to bring the left leg just over your center, keeping the leg straight. And then slowly bring the left leg towards the right, keeping the left shoulder onto the floor. And breathing. Pressing the heel away from your hip, keeping the leg active. And then slowly, with the power of your leg, coming back up. Bring the right leg up. But this time, with the right foot, take the strap off, put the strap on the side. Both legs are up. I'll just put myself back on my mat. Lift your bum up and place your hands underneath your bum. So with your legs straight, we're gonna bring the legs down and hover. So the hands are there to keep your lower back neutral. Otherwise, you will have a tendency to lift the bum up and then press the lower back down. So lifting up the legs, 2 more times. Bring the legs down. Make sure you're breathing. And 1 more. And then keep the legs up, bend your knees. And hug your knees in. Maybe this time giving the lower back and the sacrum a little massage. And then separate your knees, separate your feet, bring your arms in between your legs and grab the outside of your foot. If that's like mission impossible, grab your ankles or even a little bit higher. You can also place a strap around your feet, but it's difficult to control really the movement to be able to bring the hips down. So it is an option, and probably if that option is for you, you need it. So it's to start working on the flexibility into the hips. So if your feet are on the outside or you're holding onto your ankles, as you exhale, press your feet down, your knees down. And again, watch out that your knees and your toes are in line. So it's not about being here and the toes on the inside, so the toes are not touching at all. The knees, the foot are in line and they're larger than the hips, so opening the hip. And now observe, did you lift your sacrum off the floor? So press the sacrum back down and exhale, bring the knees down. Release your hands, bring the soles of the feet together and bring your feet, the outside of your feet onto the floor. And gently swing from side to side, so you can do it with your hands just to indicate. So the knees are not the knees are staying equidistant from each other. You don't bring the knees together. And then placing the hands on the outside of the thighs, bring the knees up to the sky. Walk your feet a little bit closer towards your hips. So the feet are as wide as your hips, the knees are as wide as your hips. Take a breath in. Bend your elbows and glue them towards your upper body. Fingers are pointing up. And just for a moment, press into your elbows and into your head and roll your shoulders under so that your chest is already nice and open. Continue pointing the fingers and then start to press into your feet, into your elbows, and lift your hips up. And exhale, hover. So again, 3 breaths here, ending up. And here it's maybe not pain or a fear of pain that's gonna stop you, but just like, okay, what am I actually doing here? What's the point? So see if you can stay conscious with the movement and again, explore, what is this bringing me? If I lift a little bit higher, how do I feel? You probably feel the same as before mentally, but physically you feel a difference. So why not go there? Taking care of our body. If you want, you can lengthen your arms on the floor and then even lift your one shoulder and roll it even more under and the other shoulder. So my shoulder blades are very close to each other. And then pressing into my feet and lifting my hips a little bit more. Chest is opening. I'm working the muscles that run along my spine here. Press your feet down and see if you can press your knees forward and then release into your bum. And then inhale, come a little bit higher. And then release and come back down. Separate your feet as wide as your mat and just gently let them roll from side to side. So your feet can be a little bit further away from your hips here. This has to feel really, really good. And then coming back to center, bring the knees into the chest. Making a little ball, so lifting your head, lifting your shoulder. Take your deep breath in. Exhale, make the ball a little bit smaller. One more time, inhaling. Make the ball a little bit smaller. And then next, deep inhale, and as you exhale, slowly release into your Shavasana. So lengthen your legs. Feet are flopping out. Arms about 45 degrees out so that your shoulders are relaxed. If you feel your chin is lifting up too much, lift your head up. Tuck your chin a little bit and bring your head down and then adjust so that it's comfortable for your breathing. Let's take a deep breath in and a long breath out and see if we can release our body even more to the floor, resting there. And then again, slowly starting to deepen your breath. Really staying conscious with the breath and feeling the air coming in, your lungs filling up and reaching to all parts of your body. And exhaling. And then moving toes, ankles, feet, fingers, hands, wrists. Maybe rolling your head from side to side, making some faces, a big smile. And then bring the legs together, reaching your arms up and overhead. So just stay here for a moment, feeling that opening into your chest. So your elbows can be bent here, no, not too much effort. Just stay here for a moment. And then with your next inhale, start to press your heels away from your center, as if you were standing in Tadasana. Start to stretch your arms overhead. You can hold onto your hands. Take another deep breath in, lengthening. And then exhale, bring the knees into the chest. Stay here or roll over to one side to eventually make it into a comfortable seated position. Once you're seated, close your eyes. Observe your body. Observe your breath. Observe your heart. Bring the hands in front of your heart. Gently tuck your chin. Thank you for sharing, for being here, for you, for us. And I wish you a wonderful day. Namaste.